In today's video, I'm sharing how I made the galaxy base for my GBWC 2024 entry. So if you've ever wanted to make a space-themed diorama base for your Gunpla or just take your builds to the next level, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Nico and welcome back to my channel. The base for my diorama starts with a gloss black acrylic sheet cut into 40 cm by 40 cm. You can choose the thickness depending on your needs. For me, I went with 2 mm. The glossy finish makes it hard for most paints to stick, so you'll need to prepare it before you start adding any colors. This is where Golden Matte Medium comes in. It's a versatile product that acts as a primer for non-porous surfaces like acrylic. When applied, it creates a matte, slightly textured surface that allows paint to adhere properly. I use a wide flat brush to apply an even coat of matte medium over the entire surface of the sheet. You don't need to glob it on, just make sure it's spread out evenly and covers every part of the acrylic. Now that the base is prepped, it's time to start building the galaxy effect. The first color we're using is Regal Blue from the Army Painter Warpaints Fanatic line. I love using paints from this line because they're incredibly opaque and vibrant, which makes them perfect for creating bold and striking effects on a dark surface like this. For this step, I'm dropping dots of Regal Blue all over the acrylic sheet in a C shape. Imagine a slightly bent tadpole with one end tapering off. This will form the foundation of the galaxy shape. So don't worry about it being perfect. Just get that general curve down. I'm using a brush to dab it into the sheet. The goal here is to blend the paint into the acrylic using a dabbing motion, kind of like how kids paint with sponges. This creates a soft textured look and makes the edges of the shape less defined. You'll want to avoid dragging or brushing the paint across the surface. Instead, stick to dabbing. It keeps the edges soft and helps blend the color naturally into the black background. The second layer is Wicked Pink. This is going to bring in some vibrancy and contrast to the galaxy. We'll be applying less of this color than the blue, focusing it on the edges of our C shape to build that soft gradient effect. I'm dropping a few small dots of Wicked Pink along the edges of the blue. Notice I'm using much less paint this time, just enough to highlight the edges without overpowering the base color. Just like before, I'm using a dabbing motion with my brush to blend the pink into the acrylic. The key here is to blend it gently into the blue, creating a smooth transition between the colors. The area where the two colors meet should turn a soft purple, adding more depth to the galaxy. Take your time with this step. You can add a few more drops if you want. The goal is to create a gradient effect where the pink fades into the blue, so avoid hard lines or harsh transitions. Dabbing in small controlled motions works best for this. This Wicked Pink layer adds a vibrant highlight to the edges of the galaxy, making it feel more dynamic and alive. Now that the blue and pink layers are done, it's time to add some highlights using Arctic Gem or any light blue paint. This step is about creating subtle details to add depth to the galaxy, so we'll be using much less paint than before. These are going to act as highlights, creating the illusion of light and adding another layer of dimension to our galaxy. These highlights should be subtle and focused, so dab gently to create soft glowing spots. Now, it's time to bring even more vibrancy to the galaxy. For this step, we're using Impish Rogue, a bright pink color, to add some subtle pops of brightness to the outermost edges of the galaxy. I'm using the same dabbing technique to blend the bright pink into the edges of the previous layers. Be sure to keep your motions light and controlled. You want the pink to stay concentrated near the edges while softly blending into the surrounding colors. The key here is to create a subtle, radiant outline that frames the galaxy. Now that the brighter colors are in place, it's time to pull everything together by blending the Wicked Pink and Regal Blue layers even more. For this, we're using Diabolic Plum, a deep purple that adds a smooth transition and ties the layers together beautifully. This color will help blend the two together, softening the transition and adding depth to the galaxy. This step is all about refinement. Take your time blending the purple in small sections, and don't be afraid to go back over areas if you need a smoother transition. Now that our galaxy has all its vibrant colors and transitions, it's time to bring back some of the darkness to give it depth. For this step, we're using matte black to create the effect of holes in the galaxy. adding contrast and making the colors pop even more. Now that we've added the black to create depth, it's time to go back in with Regal Blue to touch up some areas around the edges of the black. This will help refine the galaxy and blend the color seamlessly into the voids we just created. For this step, I'm using a smaller brush to have more control. This is actually a dry brush, but we're using the same technique, which is the dabbing motion. Now it's time to add the final touch, the stars. For this step, we're using matte white paint, thinned just a little to make it easier to splatter. This is where the magic happens. It's the detail that truly brings the galaxy to life. Flick the toothbrush over the sheet to create a random pattern of stars. Vary the pressure to get a mix of larger and smaller dots. This adds more realism and makes the galaxy feel expansive. With the stars in place, it's time to add the final layer of detail, cosmic clouds or dust clouds. For this, I'm using matte white again, but this time I'm adding in a mix of medium to make it more translucent. This gives the clouds a softer, more ethereal look, perfect for enhancing the galaxy's depth. You don't want the white to be too opaque for this step. The medium helps dilute it just enough to make the clouds look wispy and natural, blending seamlessly into the galaxy without overpowering the other layers. I'm using a detail brush to freehand the shapes of the clouds. Focus on areas that could use a bit more dimension, like around the brighter parts of the galaxy or near clusters of stars. Keep your shapes soft and irregular, no hard lines or perfect curves. Once you've painted the basic shape of the cloud, blend out the bottom edge using your finger. This is easier and faster than blending with the brush and gives the cloud that soft, diffused look. The top of the cloud can stay a little more defined to create contrast. These clouds help tie everything together, adding a final layer of dimension and making the galaxy feel even more alive. Don't be afraid to experiment with placement or to blend out areas you're not happy with. It's all part of the process. And of course, the final step, sealing everything with a gloss varnish. This step not only protects all the layers we've worked so hard on, but also gives the base that deep glassy shine that makes the galaxy look truly out of this world. And that's how I created this galaxy base for my GBWC 2024 entry. This was such a fun project and I'm thrilled with how it turned out. I hope this tutorial inspired you to try creating your own galaxy base. And if you have any questions about the process or if you've done something similar, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your projects. And if you want to learn more about painting techniques, be sure to check out my playlist all about painting Gunpla. It's packed with tips, tricks, and ideas to help you level up your builds. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye! Oh, and by the way, check out these other videos.